and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. U.S. President Donald Trump declined to give a timeline on ending war with Iran. Tensions between Washington and Tehran are rapidly escalating into what looks like a growing economic and strategic standoff, with blockades and pressure tactics raising fears of a wider confrontation. At the same time, Pakistan has stepped in beyond its usual regional posture, actively urging both sides towards dialogue and de-escalation. To unpack what this all means and where it could be heading, I'm joined by Scott Lucas, Professor of American Studies at University College Dublin. Scott, so glad to have you here with us on World Talks to really unpack all of this and everything that's going on. So, Scott, please do tell me. I mean, you know, the latest from what we have of this morning is of course, Israel Prime Minister said that he's going to visit the White House along with Joseph Aoun, right, in the coming weeks to see if this war can be resolved. We have more things going on. We have U.S. forces boarding a ship carrier carrying Iranian oil in the Indian Ocean. Trump saying the U.S. has total control over the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, Israel saying they're going to continue the war with Iran. Top figures speaking of iron unity. It is definitely becoming confusing by the day. Break it down for us, Scott. I mean, what do you think? As of this morning, what is the situation? How is it unfolding?
How much time do we have? I mean, let's start off with it. There are two different but linked arenas in this war. So let's take each of them. If you were to take the U.S.-Iran arena, we have had this unilateral extension of a ceasefire by Donald Trump when it expired on Tuesday, but it's not really a formal ceasefire. It's like a Trump social media post that says, okay, for now, we're not going to resume the bombing of Iran in this war, which has lasted 8 weeks. Instead of trying to lead with that as the headline, I think one can ask why Trump did that. Because, first of all, it points to the fact that the Iranians effectively stood up the Americans at the talks that were supposed to take place in Pakistan this week, the second set of talks. And I think that's a sign that the Iranians are trying to exercise their leverage against the Americans, saying, we don't have to talk while we have control of the Strait of Hormuz. Well, then you say, okay, well, why did Trump just extend the ceasefire? Why didn't the U.S. just return to attacking Iran? And I think it points to the fact that the administration has a lack of options here. Bombing alone will not bring regime surrender, which has been the administration's aim. The regime can stay in place, but it has to give us demands over the nuclear program, the ballistic missile program, the Strait of Hormuz, the region. That left it with two options. Either you have to talk to the Iranians, but then you have to compromise, or you have to put in ground troops. And the administration has just pulled away from using ground troops, I think, because of military political difficulties. They are now trying another option now. They have declared Operation Economic Fury to try to break Iran economically. But there's two problems here. The first here is Iran has been under 47 years of sanctions, including severe sanctions, since 2018 when Trump imposed them, and the regime still hasn't broken. The second problem is that the U.S. administration flip-flopped, because only weeks ago it gave Iran a $14 billion effectively line of credit by lifting sanctions on 140 million barrels of oil. So I think we're looking at limbo here. The Iranians have leverage on the Strait of Hormuz. The Americans have this blockade to try to stop ships going into out of Iranian ports. But I don't see either side giving way at this point, even though there's really no clear compromise that they're going to put out. Israel and Lebanon is a little bit easier for me, believe it or not. And that is that we have this declared 3-week extension of the ceasefire, again by Trump, with the idea that the Israeli and Lebanese leaders will meet in Washington. But what the Israelis want, and here I think it's simple, is they want to expand their zone of occupation. They did this in Gaza with 53% of the territory. They now want to go at least 10 kilometers inside Lebanon with a permanent military presence. And the question here is, will the Lebanese government agree to that to get a stop to the Israeli attacks?
Don't you think that it would become a gray zone, like a non? You're talking about the Litani River, right? That it would become like a non, like a neutral zone. Isn't that what they want? I mean, Israel did say quite many times that they would. Their goal is to completely dismantle Hezbollah. That they're asking also the Lebanese government, of course, before even meeting in Washington, for that to be the aim, to completely disarm Hezbollah, and they're asking Iran to stop funding Hezbollah as one of the terms of the ceasefire, right?
So whether this zone is just 10 kilometers into southern Lebanon or whether it's 30 kilometers into southern Lebanon, all the way up to the Litani River. And remember, Israel has effectively depopulated the area with forced evacuation orders. It's not a neutral zone. Now, you can say that Israel has to do this because of Hezbollah, but this is an Israeli zone. There won't be Lebanese troops there. I doubt there will be UN peacekeepers there. We'll have to see. But the Israelis are effectively going to treat this as their area in the long term. Again, much as they have done in Gaza with the idea they have to do this because of Hamas. I think there's a couple of different dimensions here. One is you can make that argument that they are just defending against Hezbollah, but you can also make the argument that the Netanyahu government has pursued a greater Israel. They have done that not only in Gaza, they have expanded the occupation of the West Bank, and they have extended their occupation in Syria with the view that this isn't just simply defensive, this is their territory.
And their version of the new Middle East. Scott, let me ask you this. You did speak about Donald Trump's, economic operation Fury, right, that he has. I want to ask you about a little bit about the impact that that's having on Europe. And specifically, I want to point out here, Estonia's Minister of Defense, Hanno Pevkur, he said that the U.S. has paused Estonia's deliveries, right, until the end of the war in Iran if the conflict does last. Can these delays in weapons delivery undermine U.S. credibility as a reliable weapons producer? What do you make of Estonia's stance and worry at this point?
If you talk to European leaders, especially Ukrainian leaders privately, they'll tell you that the Trump administration no longer has credibility as a reliable ally. And indeed, the Trump administration has declared it doesn't believe in the alliances. It said that last December. So as it said, it would undermine the EU. So you have a Trump administration that's cut financial and military aid to Ukraine, that has not only challenged NATO, but has threatened to come out of NATO. And you have to say, what kind of ally is this? And the Gulf War has just compounded that. That war in Iran, if the U.S. has expended most of its Tomahawk missiles, it can't give those Tomahawks now to Ukraine for operations inside Russia. If it's expended most of its interceptors, including its Patriot air defense missiles, it can't give those to Ukraine. So what's the lesson out of this? Europe has to do this with other countries and not rely on the United States. And I think the most significant development this week, while we see the Trump administration get taken into this quagmire of the war in the Middle East and beset by the chaos of the president, is this European Union 90 billion euro loan to Ukraine to maintain Kyiv throughout 2027. How much U.S. aid is part of that 90 billion euros? Absolutely nothing.
And definitely about that loan, is it going to be a game changer for Ukraine, particularly with this war that's taking place in the Gulf region and in the Middle East?
I think it is an absolute game changer, not in the sense of a Ukrainian victory. I mean, I think we're at a point where the landing zone is going to be that Russia, unfortunately, at least for the short term, has about 20% of Ukraine. But what Ukraine wants is they want a ceasefire on the current front lines. They don't want to be forced to give up more territory by the Americans acting on behalf of the Kremlin. And they want security guarantees. When you get this type of European investment, even if the Americans go and sit on the sidelines, you begin to build up those security guarantees, which are not just military, they're also economic, they're also political. I think this is a game changer for Ukraine, because not only does it survive, it can now look to develop and progress, as it indeed it is even doing during the war. Think about drone technology. It is also a game changer for Europe, that this is a Europe which no longer looks at this as being, we have to be reliant on the U.S. in this post-1945 system. Because the Trump folks have effectively upended the system, we now have to be reliant on ourselves, or at least with new partnerships.
And the European defense industry, how do you see that evolving?
I mean, this is the big challenge. Ursula von der Leyen set it out last year, 800 billion euros over 5 years in defense production and investment. Now, can Europe step up to the mark on that? At the level of Europe, European projects, we're seeing investment in drone projects, we're seeing investment in other forms of frontline equipment, but we're also seeing investment in new forms of defense technology in what is a very different military environment with AI, for example. But we're also seeing this question of how Ukraine becomes part of that European project, not through formal NATO status, but through, for example, these joint production agreements. We have had seven of them already. I expect more to come. And I will just give you a marker on how this world has changed. Europe and Ukraine would be off to the side, it would be said, on the Middle East as this war takes place. Gulf states have always relied on the U.S. for security. But who was it who was in the Gulf just a few weeks ago signing joint defense agreements? It wasn't Donald Trump. It was Volodymyr Zelenskyy. And he was doing so with full European support. So, can Europe step up to the mark? Remains to be seen. But has it shown the intention to do so? Yes, I think we can say so.
Thank you so much, Scott Lucas, Professor of American Studies at University College Dublin, for all your input here with us this morning on World Talks. Always a pleasure of having you here with us on TVP World.
Thanks to you and your viewers.
And that's all for this edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skye. Thanks for watching.